20 teams, 1 league, but 20 completely different stories. Some are fighting for the title, some are chasing Europe, some are trying to establish themselves, and some are back in the Premier League after years away. So, what makes each club different? What is their identity? And what could their 2026-27 season look like? Today, we're taking a quick look at all 20 Premier League teams, their history, their football, and what makes each one worth watching. Let's start. Number 1. Arsenal. Arsenal enter the 2026-27 season as Premier League champions. After waiting 22 years, Mikel Arteta finally brought the title back to the Emirates. Their football is built around possession, high pressing, quick combinations, and a strong defensive structure. Bukayo Saka and a talented young squad have become central to this new Arsenal. But winning the title was one thing. Now Arsenal have to prove it wasn't a one-season success, because defending the trophy could be even harder than winning it. Number 2. Aston Villa. Aston Villa are one of England's historic clubs, and their European history includes the European Cup they won in 1982. After some difficult years, Unai Emery has turned Villa back into a serious European team. In 2025-26, Villa finished 4th earning Champions League football for the new season. And now comes another test. Villa have to handle European football while maintaining their level in the Premier League. Emery's tactical approach has already made them difficult to play against. Now Villa have the chance to show that they can compete with Europe's biggest clubs as well. Number 3. Bournemouth. Bournemouth's rise is one of the most impressive stories in modern English football. Not long ago, they were playing in the 4th tier. Now they're heading into Europe. After finishing 6th in 2025-26, Bournemouth qualified for the Europa League for the first time in their history. Their rise has been built on smart recruitment, player development, and a clear footballing structure. Now Marco Rose takes over. His challenge is simple: keep Bournemouth competitive in the Premier League while handling their first European campaign. If they manage both, Bournemouth could become much more than an underdog story. Number 4. Brentford. Brentford don't have the biggest budget in the Premier League, and that's exactly why their model is so interesting. They rely heavily on data, scouting, and finding players before the bigger clubs notice them. That approach has helped Brentford compete against teams with far greater resources. Their football is just as uncomfortable for opponents, with intensity, quick attacks, and dangerous set pieces. Now Keith Andrews takes charge. His job is to keep that identity intact and prove Brentford can continue punching above their financial weight. Number 5. Brighton and Hove Albion. Brighton have become one of football's best examples of smart recruitment. They find young talent, develop it, and often sell those players for huge fees. Moises Caicedo and Alexis Mac Allister are 2 famous examples. But Brighton are no longer just a stepping stone for talented players. After finishing 8th in 2025-26, they're heading into the Conference League. Now the challenge is different. Can Brighton compete in Europe while continuing to build one of the smartest squads in the Premier League? That's what makes their 2026-27 season so interesting. Number 6. Chelsea. Chelsea have won almost everything: Premier League titles, the Champions League, and countless major trophies. But the club has taken a very different approach in recent years, building a squad heavily focused on young talent. Now Xabi Alonso takes over. Chelsea have plenty of talent, but the real issue is turning that talent into consistent results. Alonso now has to bring structure, confidence, and a clear playing style to Stamford Bridge. If that happens, Chelsea have enough quality to challenge the best teams in the league. Number 7. Coventry City. Coventry are back in the Premier League, and this is a huge moment for the club. They've been through lower divisions, financial problems, and some very difficult years. But they also have a proud history, including their FA Cup victory in 1987. Now Frank Lampard leads them into the Premier League. For Coventry, this season will be about survival. Home form, quick transitions, and taking points from teams around them could make all the difference. Promotion was the big achievement. Now they have to show they belong here. Number 8. Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace have built a strong identity in the Premier League. Selhurst Park, their passionate supporters, and dangerous attacking players make them a difficult side to face. But Palace have now reached another level. They won the Conference League, and that has earned them a place in the Europa League. Now Pierre Sage begins his first season in charge. The challenge is keeping Palace competitive in England while also dealing with European football. If they can build on their European success, 2026-27 could become one of the most memorable seasons in the club's history. Number 9. Everton. Everton are one of England's oldest and most historic clubs, but their recent years have been far from easy. Financial problems, inconsistent performances, and several relegation battles put this famous club under serious pressure. Now Everton are building a new chapter at Hill Dickinson Stadium. They've already experienced their first Premier League season there. Now the focus is moving forward. Everton need more than survival. They need to rebuild their reputation and start looking like the club their history suggests they should be. Number 10. Fulham. Fulham have something many Premier League clubs don't: Craven Cottage. Their historic home beside the River Thames gives the club a unique identity. After years of promotion battles and relegation, Fulham have finally become a more stable Premier League side. Now Luvaro Arbeloa takes charge. He inherits a team with Premier League experience, but also plenty of room to grow. Fulham have already proved they can stay at this level. The next step is pushing higher up the table and getting closer to European football. Number 11. Hull City. After 9 years away, Hull City are back in the Premier League. This is a club that has experienced the highs and lows of English football, and now they have another chance on the biggest domestic stage. Their promotion was built on a strong championship campaign, and now the challenge becomes much harder. Sergei Jakirovic will lead Hull into the new season, with survival likely to be the first priority. For a promoted team, home form can make all the difference. If Hull can turn the MKM Stadium into a difficult place to visit, they could give themselves a real chance of staying up. Number 12. Ipswich Town. Ipswich are a club with a serious place in English football history. They won the top-flight title in 1962, and under Sir Bobby Robson, they lifted the UEFA Cup in 1981. After years away from the top level, Ipswich are now back in the Premier League. Gary O'Neill takes charge, and his biggest job will be turning that historic return into something lasting. Portman Road will give them plenty of support, but the Premier League will demand consistency every week. For Ipswich, this season is about more than returning. It's about proving they belong here. Number 13. Leeds United. Leeds are one of those clubs where the fans are almost as famous as the team. Elland Road can produce an atmosphere that puts enormous pressure on visiting sides. After returning to the Premier League, Daniel Farke now has to make sure Leeds don't repeat the mistakes of previous campaigns. The team will need intensity, discipline, and enough quality to compete with clubs that have far greater resources. But Leeds have one major advantage: their supporters. If they start strongly at home, that atmosphere could become a huge weapon. For Leeds, the goal is simple. Don't just come back to the Premier League, stay here. Number 14. Liverpool. Few clubs in world football have an identity as strong as Liverpool. Anfield, the Kop, and You'll Never Walk Alone are instantly recognizable around the world. Liverpool finished 5th in 2025-26 and secured Champions League football. But now the club enters another new chapter. Andoni Iraola takes over as head coach after the departure of Arne Slot. That means a different voice, a different tactical approach, and a huge amount of pressure. Because at Liverpool, finishing near the top is expected. The challenge for Iraola will be keeping that winning mentality while building his own version of the team. Number 15. Manchester City. For almost a decade, Manchester City were one of the dominant forces in English football. Under Pep Guardiola, possession, tactical flexibility, and relentless attacking football became their trademark. But now, everything changes. Guardiola's era has ended, and Enzo Maresca begins a completely new chapter. City finished second in 2025-26, 7 points behind Arsenal, so the pressure will be enormous. Maresca isn't simply taking over a talented squad, he is taking over a team expected to win trophies. The big question is, can City remain at the top without Guardiola? Number 16. Manchester United. Manchester United don't need an introduction. 13 Premier League titles, Champions League glory, and the legendary Sir Alex Ferguson era made United one of football's biggest clubs. But the years after Ferguson have been far more difficult. Now, Michael Carrick leads the club into a new season. United finished third in 2025-26, and that means Champions League football is returning to Old Trafford. But finishing third isn't enough for a club like United. The expectation is always higher. They need consistency, a clear identity, and performances that remind fans of what this club can be. The rebuilding continues, but now the pressure is rising again. Number 17, Newcastle United. Newcastle have something many clubs would love: a huge fan base, a famous stadium, and serious ambitions for the future. St. James Park can be one of the loudest grounds in English football, but after finishing 12th in 2025-26, Newcastle need a stronger campaign. And now, Matthias Gisele begins a new chapter as manager. His job will be to turn Newcastle's ambitions into consistent performances and push the club closer to European football. The money and resources are there, the supporters are there, now the football has to match the ambition. Because Newcastle don't want to be remembered as a club with potential, they want to become a club competing at the top. Number 18, Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest have one of the most incredible European stories in English football. They won the European Cup in 1979 and then did it again in 1980. But Forest also spent years away from the Premier League before finally returning to the top level. Now, Oliver Glasner takes charge. His task is to build on Forest's recent progress while bringing greater consistency to the team. The City ground remains one of their biggest advantages because the atmosphere there can be intense. Forest already have a legendary past. Now the challenge is creating a future that is just as memorable. Number 19, Sunderland. Sunderland's return to the Premier League has already become one of the biggest comeback stories in English football. After years away, the club finished 7th in 2025-26 and secured Europa League football. Now Urgis Labris faces a completely different challenge. Sunderland aren't simply trying to survive anymore, they also have European matches to handle. That means more travel, more pressure, and a much bigger demand on the squad. The Stadium of Light will be crucial because Sunderland have some of the most passionate supporters in the country. For this club, 2026-27 is about proving that the comeback is only the beginning. Number 20, Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham have the stadium, the facilities, the fan base, and the ambition. But consistency has always been one of their biggest problems. After finishing 17th in 2025-26, Spurs now have plenty to prove. Roberto De Zerbi takes charge, and his challenge is to give Tottenham a clear identity while getting much more from the talent already at the club. Tottenham fans don't want another season of almost. They want progress, results, and eventually trophies. So in 2026-27, the question isn't whether Spurs have the resources. They do. The question is, can De Zerbi finally turn those resources into a team that delivers? And that's all 20 Premier League teams, but which club is actually right for you? In our next video, we'll break down the Premier League teams and help you find the one that matches your personality. So make sure you don't miss it. And until then, keep watching football.